ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another rousing edition of The Lap Down. I am your host, Greg Farmer, and with me tonight is another packed house. We have Tyler, Ryan, Jamie, and Billy coming on for his first episode of the season. How are we doing tonight, boys?
Doing good.
Pretty good.
Awesome. As always, a big thank you to Will and the Alkali Project for the intro and outro music on the podcast. Please be sure to check out their album, The Blood World, wherever you get your music. And we are just going to jump right in. We had a whole full packed weekend of racing this past weekend. We'll kick it off with Sunday around 12 o'clock. We had the Indycar Grand Prix at St. Petersburg. And Alex Palou managed to hold off Scott Dixon and Joseph Newgarden to secure the win. And it was the first race for IndyCar on Fox, and it drew huge numbers.
45% from last year, if I remember the number correctly.
Yes, it peaked at 1.8 million viewers, up 45% from NBC last year, which only drew 945,000 viewers.
And that it was a good race too.
Yes, it was. It seems to me that IndyCar on Fox might be a success. What about you, Tyler? What do you think?
Oh, I was gonna go down the rabbit hole for a second. Do you guys mind? So
Please
I have
do.
a feeling that IndyCar is going to take priority at Fox Sports and NASCAR is going to be shoved to the side. That's what I have feeling which is going to come.
That's not a really bold prediction. I think everybody kind of has assumed that ever since they came out with all these.
Honestly, having Will Buxton, James Hinchcliffe, Townsend Bell, that was good. And Jack Harvey in the pits, that was actually really nice. The broadcast was nice. It was actually pretty clean. Other than, I think there was a mishap, and I believe it was either practice or qualifying that they didn't show the sector gap, the qualifying times correctly or something like that. But other than that, it was actually very well received.
Yep.
What else do you guys have on it? Or do you guys not watch it?
No, I watched it. I was actually going to ask if that could be like the end of NASCAR on Fox in the coming next couple of years, maybe.
I think the sucky part is they literally just signed the next 7-year deal, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, we're locked in with NASCAR on Fox for at least another 7 years.
Yep.
But again, I
was going to say, what about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I don't think it's any surprise that NASCAR will likely end up as the backmarker on the Fox priority list. Yeah, during their sessions, considering Fox lost the Coke 600 from their NASCAR broadcast, and they're giving full network TV coverage to the IndyCar series. I mean,
every single IndyCar race is going to be on Fox, from what I've heard.
Yeah, that's what I've just said. That the full season network TV coverage on Big Fox. Yeah.
My concern is losing the 600 and them getting the Indy 500. That actually might kill. Yeah, that actually I do agree. That might actually kill it faster than we think, because I have a feeling Amazon Prime. Was that Prime or was that TNT?
Prime got the 600.
Amazon Prime's going to have an increase in boosting, but the thing is how many people actually have Amazon Prime?
A lot of people.
Actually, you'd be surprised. They have Amazon, but not everybody has Prime.
But if you look at the viewership for the NFL games on Prime, it's not that much of a fall off from the typical Sunday. And again, that's for Thursday Night Football, which those games usually aren't that great.
Actually, but I personally think, the ratings jump for the 600 might grow, but it also depends on how good the broadcast is, though. Because right now, Amazon's using is basically Fox Sports right now.
Yes, but you also have to remember the Dale Jr. effect. Dale Jr. will be in the booth for the Prime and the TNT broadcasts.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was only in the booth for the TNT 5 races.
No, it's both. It's both.
Okay.
Yep.
But
Let's
anyway,
just remember.
Jamie, Bill, do you guys have any info on this before we continue, Greg?
I was just gonna say let's remember one at a time. But Jamie, go ahead.
I mean, overall, I thought the IndyCar race was a good race before we get into the thick of things. Between the fall off of NASCAR and IndyCar on Fox, that's more. They're going that direction anyways. NASCAR is going to be soon going into full streaming mode. Hence why they had this deal with HBO Max for the in-car cameras to kind of get that out there. And then with Prime, I think Prime's probably going to be the better one that's going to get a little bit more races along with TNT. For TNT for more like live TV purposes, Prime for its own exclusive sets throughout the race year.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I feel like NBC really is kind of the optimal partner for NASCAR because they both have, they have their cable channel in USA Network. They've got their broadcast network in NBC.
You can also use NBC and stuff like that too.
And they also have Peacock as well, so so to balance out the streaming exclusive races or even to just have it as a secondary option. Because as far as I know, I don't think Fox actually has their own, like, streaming service, or at least I don't know what theirs is.
It's Fox. It's literally just Fox Sports, honestly.
Well, I know the Fox Sports.
Actually,
I know the Fox Sports app you can use to watch stuff or whatever, but you still have to log in through a cable provider for those apps.
Yeah, it's not standalone.
Yeah, but I don't know if they have, like, for example, with CBS, you've got Paramount Plus. With NBC, you've got Peacock. I don't know what Fox's equivalent is, or if they even have one.
I was gonna compare viewership because we were just talking about the IndyCar. So this year, 4.7 million people watched on Austin this weekend. It's up. Yeah, wait, never mind. That was wrong. I was reading it wrong. I was reading the wrong thing. My bad. They haven't dropped the NASCAR ones yet.
Yeah, and
I did see the NASCAR one, but
let us remember too. I don't know if you guys caught this during the Cup race on Sunday, but might see a viewership drop for the next few Cup Series races because the next 6 Cup Series races are going to be on FS1, not Big Fox.
Because
it is 4.9 million. It peaked at 4.9.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that. It's all Fox Sports 1 this upcoming next 3 weeks, I believe.
6, I believe.
But yeah, when I first heard though that IndyCar was getting a Fox deal, I was curious if we might be able to get all on one network, the Indy 500 and Coke 600. But obviously, when Fox lost the Coke 600, that kind of went away. But that would have been such a cool thing to be able to just sit down and watch one channel and get both the Indy 500 and 600 on the same day without having to flip channels. Or in this case, go to a streaming service for the second half.
Yep.
I'm going to say this right now. The next race that's on Big Fox is Talladega.
Yep. And then they finish out on FS1 with Texas, Kansas, and North Wilkesboro.
Yep. And then Prime starts theirs, and then TNT.
Yep. So only 4 races on Big Fox? 5 if you count the Clash?
There's only 5. There's only 5 big NBC races, just mind you, as well.
Yep.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if we could get, say, most of the playoffs on big NBC, but
4.
yeah, we got the
4.
final 3. We got the final 3 races on. No, we only got 3 big NBC races on in the playoffs.
Yep.
It's shocking that though even the All-Star races on FS1.
Yeah, well, I think there's Indy 500 qualifying on at the same time, and that's probably going to get Big Fox.
Yeah, that would most likely be the case. Well, alright, we're gonna move on to the next topic. So NASCAR was racing at Circuit of the Americas this past weekend. And, I'm gonna let Ryan take the lead on the Xfinity Series because I did not watch the Xfinity Series race. All I know is that Connor Zilisch won from the pole. So Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was basically the storyline of the race. We were coming into this one. It was going to be Connor Zilich's weekend to, both the first road course for the NASCAR Xfinity Series season and his Cup Series debut the following day. So all eyes were on Connor Zilich, and he had a fairly easy run to the all the way to the checkered flag. Never really felt like he was in much threat of losing out on the spot, at least not from what I was seeing. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I can't remember. And I think it was a fairly clean race in terms of cautions. We had one for Carson Hocevar barreling into the safer barrier pretty early on, but besides that, I think that was like the only major incident.
Alright, so, if anybody else watched the Xfinity Series race, what was your, opinion on it? Tyler?
Just gonna watch the highlights now so I could actually input. Sorry, I didn't watch the race. I just now.
Yeah,
you're
so
good.
I think overall it was like there was a good racing
race,
on the track.
From what I heard,
it was,
all I know is Connor Zilisch dominated.
Yeah, he definitely dominated. But like seeing them race around the track, like it didn't, like if you were just catching a glimpse, you would not expect this to be just Xfinity Series racing. The type of racing and the type of moves that people were making were very much, it was respectful. They kept it clean. People moving everywhere, especially with the fanning out right off the rip.
It reminded me of Australian V8 supercar race, honestly, if you watch one of those.
Well,
I have not seen that, no.
It also looked a lot more like a cup race because we had Ross Chastain and the 17 of William Byron dicing it up at the front of the track with Zilisch. So Zilisch was getting a dose of Cup Series competition.
Actually, real quick, Greg, can I ask a question? How do you guys feel about the CW broadcast for the Xfinity so far?
They are doing a fantastic job.
Yes,
they are.
I've been enjoying it a lot.
I like
Fox.
It kind of looks like a mix of Fox Sports and NBC for the graphics a little bit.
Yeah, but I just love that the CW is just doing their own thing. You know, their booth is great. Adam Alexander and Jamie McMurray really, really complement each other. Like, I love it so much. And that and the fact that, they have qualifying on the CW app and you can just download that on a smart TV and you don't have to sign in or sign in through a cable provider. You just download it.
Yeah,
and boom,
I saw that. That was nice.
Boom, you're in.
But that's only for qualifying. That's not for the races. For the races, you need to be on the actual, channel, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, for, some of those people who actually like to watch, like, qualifying and stuff, if they're not like around their TV, they can download it on their phone and just watch qualifying.
I was
wherever they're at.
I was listening to it while I was on my way to JFK this weekend.
All right. Well, on Sunday we had the Cup Series race. Connor Zilisch made his Cup Series debut driving the number 87 Red Bull car. It was really, really good to see Red Bull back in the sport. But it did not go well. He was caught up in a lap 1 incident, which we will get to in just a moment. And then later on in the race, he got knocked out completely when Daniel Suarez got spun and he had nowhere to go. Speaking of the lap 1 incident, Ross Chastain decided he was going to come from 10 rows back to try to take the lead on lap 1.
And took out Chase Elliott.
He dive bombed into turn 1. He collected Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, Connor Zilisch, and others. And that was really the only dive bomb move that we saw all day. It's kind of like Ross kind of set the precedent.
I tend to remember a certain Denny Hamlin.
Oh, copy out Denny Hamlin on the freaking Austin.
It wasn't in turn 1, but it was definitely a
6A. 6A, where he lost control.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He lost control. He didn't dive bomb.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say that was like the only dive bomb move into turn 1 that we saw, really.
Okay, yeah.
And but yeah, the Hamlin incident, he hit dirt that was on the track and
lost traction.
Yeah, he lost it and took Austin Dillon with him.
All right.
But one of the big stories that we're still waiting on to see if anything is going to happen is Austin Cindric right hooked Ty Dillon coming out of turn 20 onto the front stretch and into the wall. Tyler, do you think that a penalty is coming for Austin Cindric?
I don't know, honestly. It could go either way, really, because they've been very inconsistent with that. You either get a penalty or not. But it's because Austin Cindric, actually, he might get a penalty because he's a big name driver, because you know what happened when the last 2 times a big name driver took out each other. Freaking Bubba Wallace getting suspended and then Chase Elliott getting suspended. So if there was a popular driver, or unfortunately not a popular driver, rather a big team driver. Oh yeah, he's gonna. I personally am leaning on the side of penalty, maybe a 1 race suspension, because if they're not afraid to suspend Chase Elliott, they're not going to suspend Austin Cindric.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think it has to do with it being a big name driver. They've set the precedent for right hooking people before. But what about you, Ryan? What's your opinion?
So I could see a points penalty coming out, probably a fine as well. I'd be curious if they go for a suspension because of what happened and what changed in the off season, where now a suspension would not only obviously take away an extra chance for him to win a race potentially, but it would also mean that even if he does make it to the playoffs, he would have to forfeit all playoff points.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to add on to that, Ryan. Not only that, is because, like I said, if he misses, technically, that's if he gets granted the waiver, because the suspension's not a part of it. Just remember that. So, yeah, whatever happens, if he loses up to that race, he can gain all the points after the suspension. It's all the playoff points up to the suspension that he forfeits.
So that is not correct. He forfeits any playoff points throughout the season. He would not collect any playoff points until he made the playoffs.
Okay, I had that backwards. My bad.
Jamie, do you have any thoughts?
Not on this one. I personally didn't really see much wrong with it. I thought it was just racing, but I'm in the small opinion on that.
All right. Well, moving a little bit further in the race, it looked like it was Kyle Busch's day. It really did. He pitted on lap 70. And then Christopher Bell pitted on lap 72, so he had two lap fresher tires and was able to get by Busch with just a handful of laps to go and go on to secure his second win of the season and second win in a row as he won at Atlanta last week as well. One of my big questions is, it has been advertised, but nothing has been made official. Does COTA come back in 2026? And if not, what track takes its place? One at a time, starting with Tyler.
A phone call, be right back. Go ahead, Ryan.
Sorry, what was the question?
It's been advertised by some people on social media, but nothing has been officially announced. Does COTA come back in 2026? And if not, what track do you think would take its place?
Alright, so I actually kind of said this after the race, mostly in heat of the moment, but also just kind of looking at this race, that one, I don't feel like I feel like turn one inviting so many dive bombs, and if we had seen that race go into overtime, I think we would have just seen dive bomb city. Yeah, so I actually was in the opinion, or at least, I had the thought come across, like, do we really need to be at Circuit of the Americas, especially where the track is built for light and fast Formula One cars, not big and bulky stock cars? And then my other point as to why I think that maybe NASCAR didn't need to return is because of the fact that they can't even officiate the corners correctly or consistently with because that's something we haven't gotten to yet, which is turn 6 and the lack of officiating in turn 6.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my things. So somebody had said that, they were posting pictures of guys cutting the corner in turn 6, and Kyle Busch was one of those guys who was questioning it. And apparently they were only calling course cutting in 3, 4, and 5 due to it being the short course and not the longer course.
Yep.
But I digress. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so I mean, that's one of those things that, because from my opinion and from what I've seen with Circuit of the Americas, is it feels like it was intended to be basically the way to try and draw in more casual Formula One fans who are like, oh, hey, look, it's the same track that I know from Formula One. Let's check out and see how the NASCAR guys are doing at it. But to then see dive bombs, which would absolutely be, public executions in F1 cars, and then them going and cutting the course, which again is something that would not be allowed by any stretch of the imagination in Formula One. I don't know if it really accomplishes that feat. I don't think any kind of casual Formula One fan tuning into this race would actually have stuck around very long, considering how drastically different the style is. But my biggest thing is just, you'd have to name me what track you're replacing with to convince me that maybe COTA doesn't return, because I still think COTA can put on a show.
I actually had a theory on that one, honestly. I think it does return, personally. But I also personally think it might be replaced by Rockingham next year. If you think about it. Because they said, what track are they going to replace for Rockingham? And honestly, I personally, now this is a big hint that, like, the future of COTA is up in the air. I see them going over to Rockingham.
Who owns Rockingham?
NASCAR, I believe.
SMI.
Is it a NASCAR?
No, SMI doesn't. Actually, let me look at it real quick. I got you.
Let me throw this out there real quick before we get Jamie's thoughts on it. What track is the Truck Series going to this year that hasn't been on the schedule in a long time?
Same with Xfinity Series.
Not Rockingham. It's another road course. Lime Rock.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
The problem with Lime Rock, though, you wouldn't be able to fit it into the same time slot on the schedule. You'd have to move other things around because that track is up in Connecticut.
Oh, no, never mind.
Well, you could put it in the summer.
Yeah, you just would have to find one of the other you'd have to move other things around in the schedule to make it fit.
No, it's owned, Rockingham's owned by neither.
Oh, okay.
Because that's
owned by Rockingham Properties LLC, so it's a private owner.
Alright, I was gonna say, cause, with the COTA race essentially being another Texas Motor Speedway race, it's an SMI event. I would be shocked if it isn't replaced by another SMI owned track. And that's where you kind of come down to the question of, okay, which SMI owned track would be in position to take that spot?
That is true. Like, yeah, what?
I mean, a second Texas state? Do we really want another Texas race back?
Oh, hell no. I mean, it was alright. The race in the fall was not bad. The race was not bad when it really raced last season. But other than that, I don't think it's a twice a year shit.
Yeah.
I honestly think what they should do is put the cup cars on Lime Rock and move that to the summer and bring Sonoma to the spring.
Yeah, so it's not too hot and it'll actually look really good because it's green.
It's beautiful out there right now. Mm-hmm. But Jamie, you've been pretty quiet. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. Maybe I watched a different race than everybody else. But I thought the fact that they shortened COTA, it made for better racing. They had the most lead changes that I think they tied the record for most lead changes in this race. So people were swapping position for up toward the front. There was movement going all around the track. Like, yes, there was dive bombs. Yes, there was potential course cutting stuff, but that's road course racing. Like, everybody does it. I don't really necessarily agree that they were trying to entice like F1 fans. I think it's just NASCAR trying to get a stake at one of the more famous road courses. But
I have their own layout for it, Sonoma.
Exactly. But I thoroughly enjoyed the road course race, and I'm traditionally out I hate road courses because I think most road courses are just boring.
It actually bested last year's Watkins Glen race, for my personal opinion, the best road course races in the next gen era.
I still think I like the Watkins Glen race better, but I've said this a number of times. Again, the race was not a bad race, and I'm not itching to get rid of it. I'm just looking at what COTA was brought on the schedule for.
It was replacing Texas Motor Speedway's second date. It was the whole intent purpose on it, and also just when NASCAR's expanding their, I think it was late 2020s when they started wanting to blow up and expand their stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it was brought on to replace Texas, and it was a welcome. Anyway, let's continue.
Any more thoughts, Jamie?
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. I enjoyed the race. I thought it was probably one of the better road courses that I've personally watched. And I don't understand this whole concept of COTA, whether COTA will be here next year or if it's on its way out, because that's how much I enjoyed the race. I thought it played out to be one of the better road course racing tracks that NASCAR has had in a hot while.
I like the fact I think it just made it better because it was a shorter course, and plus, my personal opinion on this as well is the fact that it was what we used to watch growing up.
Exactly.
Back in the mid 2000s, hard road course bumping and banging road course racing. That's what it reminded me of.
All right. Well, that leads me into my next question. Again, one at a time, starting with Tyler. How do you feel about the softer tire that they introduced this weekend?
I thought it was great. Like, see what I mean? It was that was amazing. Like, the softer tire helped them get more grip, but it also like died a little bit faster, so people can have comers and goers. And plus, it made for great battles, like Kyle Busch and Christopher Bell for like the last 20, 30 laps. That was an epic battle, and there were tire strategies. It wasn't about fuel. It was about tire strategy yesterday or Sunday, and it was actually, that's honestly what most road courses should be about: tire strategy and where they're running harder than others and preventing wear. I liked it a lot.
What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the tires wore out really well, and especially down the stretch, getting to see the way the tires played out, like Kyle Busch's tires being completely worn out there at the end, which led to him losing out on a couple of spots there. Yeah,
Broken tire, my bad.
Seeing what Chase Elliott was able to do, carving through the entire field. In like a matter of like, what was it? He went from like 11th to 5th or to 4th in a matter of like 3 laps. I think he was 11th with like 2-3 laps to go, and he ends up finishing 4th. So, I mean, again, I think the tires played out well, and when the racing was actually able to run green flag this year, I will say I think this year's race was far better than any of the other recent COTA races.
Yeah. What about you, Jamie?
I mean, I kind of stand on what I said earlier. I think it applies to this question too.
Yeah, I mean, again, if it wasn't for the storyline of Circuit of the Americas not being inked yet for next year, I don't think anyone would really be talking about like looking to replace it. But the fact that there is kind of the idea of people are already talking about the fact that that they don't have a deal inked yet for next year starts to make people question, okay, is NASCAR maybe looking to replace this race? Even if the fans like it.
Yeah. I liked it. I'm not real big on road course racing, kind of like Jamie, but I sat there and watched every lap, and especially like those last 10 laps, I was on the edge of my seat because you had like 4 cars under a blanket, and you honestly didn't know who was going to win. Honestly, like I was personally pulling for Kyle Busch, but I would have loved to see him get another win, but things happen and all that good stuff. But I thought it was a fantastic race, especially for a road course. And like what Tyler said earlier, I fully believe it was probably the best road course race of the next gen era.
Oh, for sure.
But that's going to go into our next segment. It is time for some green flags and black flags. Our new listeners, green flags is something that you liked during the race weekend, and that could be anything that happened this weekend, Indy, Cup, or Xfinity. And black flags is something that you did not like. We'll kick it off with Tyler.
Oh, I like the race, the new layout in COTA. That's my green flag. They did a nice job shortening the layout and made it like more competitive also with the tires. Now, honestly, my personal black flag is the Austin Cindric incident, because I couldn't really find any black flags from this weekend other than that.
All right. What about you, Tyler? I'm sorry, Ryan.
All right. So for my green flag, I'm gonna give it to something that I think is probably got plenty of praise over the when it was first announced, but still, the Red Bull paint schemes for both Zilich this weekend and the one that they've announced for SVG later this year. I mean, those cars are clean, and as someone who is very much a die-cast collector, I love seeing beautiful paint schemes out there, and Red Bull is one of those iconic brands in motorsport, especially with their involvement in the Formula One side of things. So to see Red Bull up front and potentially contending for a win at Coda would have been amazing if Zilich had been able to actually not get taken out. And my black flag, going right over to that, we'll go to the move from Ross Chastain. It was just way too early and put way too many people. I mean, there was nothing any of the other drivers could have done to defend that move. And there was no way, Ross was going to make it through that corner without plowing 20 cars.
What about you, Jamie?
For me, my green flag goes out to Chase Elliott and the whole Napa crew for after getting dumped on lap 1 and being able to rally back with a 4th place finish at Coda. Makes me wonder, just how good that car would have been had it gotten to clean air, and could have made for one heck of a duel between him and Christopher Bell. The black flag is kind of just the ones who made it a point to that were doing the cutting in the corners more consistently, to the point where NASCAR had to start calling it. I know it's a new course layout. I enjoy the new course layout. But just make sure that everyone gets the memo, because if some drivers didn't know that they were calling course penalties for that, so I would probably that would make that my black flag.
All right. Well, mine's going to be kind of a little long-winded because I have 3 green flags to share. My first green flag goes to IndyCar and Fox for the advertisements that they've been putting out for the last couple weeks since the Super Bowl. And I think that really helped kind of boost their viewership numbers. They did a great job advertising that, the whole move and all that good stuff. My second green flag goes to Alex Bowman. He had 2 penalties, and he got spun out and still came back to finish in the top 10. So a good points day for the 48 team. And my third green flag goes to Bubba Wallace. Road course racing is not his strong suit. He qualified on the front row, had a course cutting penalty in stage 1, but came back to win stage 1 after staying out and trying to flip the stage. And correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but I believe he finished in the top 10.
He won stage 1. You mean at the end of the race?
Yes. I can't remember if he finished top 10 or not.
I don't think he made it back to the top 10.
Oh, well, okay. Well, either way, he did a good job qualifying and winning the stage, got himself some stage points. He had, I think, the 3rd most stage points out of anybody in the race. My black flag, I don't know if you guys follow it much on social media, but it has to go to Chris Wright for the tweets that he was sending out over the weekend trying to justify his dumbassery, pardon my French, move at Daytona a couple weeks ago where he took out a car coming to pit road.
Because apparently the spotter.
Yeah, it just made himself look a whole lot worse. And, he gets my major black flag, and he was actually a quote unquote shit show Hall of Fame nominee on Door Bumper Clear today as well.
By the way, Bubba got 20th. Just wanted to let you know that, because I looked it up, the finishing result there.
Gotcha. 20th. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, he's still got some points, so. But, with that said, we are going to go to our next segment. They are racing in Phoenix this weekend. I was listening to Actions Detrimental today with Denny Hamlin, and they are bringing a soft tire this weekend to Phoenix to try to see if it races a little bit better, and maybe something to look forward to the championship race in November. but we are going to go into our race picks. I have the wheel right here with all of our names on it. And let me get that typed out in our notes here on who gets what pick. Let's see, Jamie. All right. So first spin on the wheel will land on Tyler.
Oh yeah, I'm honestly, with the way Chase Elliott's performing, I'm going with Chase Elliott.
All right. And the next pick will go to myself. Let's see, who do I want to pick for Phoenix? You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that Christopher Bell goes 3 in a row.
Christopher Bell, 3-peat. Nice.
Yep. All right. Third pick goes to Jamie.
Well, I was going to go on that limb with you, but I can't do that. So, I'm going to go Kyle Larson.
All right. And just for fun, I'm going to spin the wheel one more time.
I never had any luck with
by
this.
the way?
Who could it land on? Oh,
Chase.
what do you know? Ryan.
Okay. Are you sure it picked me? Are you sure it didn't mean to pick the wall behind me?
Nope, it said Ryan.
Okay. Well, I think Phoenix is definitely a Toyota favoring track, so I think I'm going to pick a Toyota. Could go Reddick. Obviously can't go Bell for the 3-peat because, Bell's already taken. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and say we've seen it happen in recent, we saw it happen, what was it, 2-3 years ago now, we saw Briscoe get his first win at Phoenix. I'm going to go ahead and say that we see another first-time winner at Phoenix, and I think Ty Gibbs gets his first career Cup win.
Ooh.
That's bold.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
Very bold.
Have you been talking to JP?
Both?
No, because I think Ty Gibbs is much more reasonable. JP would have gone down that road and said Riley Herbst.
What?
Well, Ben's going to be super upset because that's both of his picks that he picks every single week.
Yeah, well, hey, you'll have to figure out something else.
Well, as always, I will get the rest of the
lose.
picks a little later this week. But before we close out tonight's show, we are going to go into Jamie's trivia. Jamie, what do you
Real quick,
think?
I've got a piece of news that I just saw come across the Twitter.
Breaking
news.
Kyle Larson will be attempting all 3 races in the spring. He will be attempting to try and go for the triple, the clean sweep that only Kyle Busch has been able to pull off. So Spring Bristol, Kyle Larson will be in the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series race trying to sweep the weekend.
Oh,
Okay.
So he'll be in the Spire, I believe the 07 truck for the Spire race. I didn't see which car number he'll be in for the Xfinity race. I would assume it'll either be the Hendrick 17 or the Junior Motorsports 9.
All right.
And then for the Cup race, shock and surprise, he'll be in the 5.
All right. First time
I know, everybody was shocked about that one.
First time for everything. We've never had breaking news on this podcast as we were recording it. Catch Ryan.
Because we recorded in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what do you got for us in trivia, Jamie?
All right. Well, all the buzz has been around Christopher Bell and his attempt at a 3-peat. Now, the last time that a 3-peat happened was in 2021 when Kyle Larson did it twice in a single season. So, focusing on Christopher Bell and this great run that he has been on, of his 10 starts, how many of them have finished in the top 10?
Of his 10 starts at Phoenix?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No Googling.
All right, Tyler, you got a guess?
So he had 10 starts total at Phoenix. Is this including his 2020
No,
starts
Levine,
with
yeah,
96?
the Levine Family Racing days, yeah.
I think all but the two. I think all of them are in the top 10 except for the two in 2020.
So you think 8?
Yep.
All right. What about you, Ryan?
Well, I don't know. I feel like he had to have had some bad luck at one or two of the races since then because he's so good at these flat ovals. It's hard to imagine that he was in the top 10 for all 8 of them, yet didn't win a single Phoenix race. So I'm gonna say I think 7. I think he missed it once in the Joe Gibbs car.
All right. Well, I know it was I think it was 2023, he had a brake failure in the Final Four race. So that's one he finished outside of the top 10. I'm going to say 5.
Ha ha! I finally win one. You are all wrong.
Was it 6?
It was 6.
Okay.
All right.
So, the dates that he finished outside of the top 10, obviously his two times for Levine Family Racing.
Yeah.
In March 13th of 2022, he placed a 26th place finish. And then, as Greg stated, in 2023 in November, he had that brake failure and finished 36.
Yep. So I was on the right train of thought. I just was off on how many times that he had bad
So
luck.
still 6 is impressive as fuck.
It is.
Pardon my language.
And what I was going to go with that is my final question. Now, this is not a bonus point question. Because of his impressive track record thus far at this track specifically, and with him already winning 2 races in the Cup Series already, what would you say his win probability would be for this week and actually achieve the three-peat?
Ooh.
I would say 88.2.
I think that's high.
I think I'm gonna go with like 92 or 93%.
I mean, I think that there's reasonably 6 to 7 cars that have at least a fair chance to win. I think honestly, any of the
There's
4
two other cars that.
I
Two
think
other
any
cars. Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I think any of the 4 in-house Gibbs cars could easily have just as good a chance. So that's 3 drivers that Bell would have to share pretty decent odds with. Maybe a little lower on the Ty Gibbs side of things, but between Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, I think that's a fair amount of cars to contend with. Then you look over at the Hendrick group, and there's probably another 3 to 4 cars that have relatively decent chances. I'm gonna say closer to about 50% for Bell, maybe even a little bit less. I'll say 45% win percentage. I still think, again, 45 is insanely good odds, but when you factor in just all the other things that can happen in a race and how many other good cars are in it.
Yeah, I'm kind of closer towards what Ryan said. For a single driver win percentage, I was going to put it more around that 52%. Because I think he's got enough driver skill that can overcome a lot of different scenarios, and luck can definitely fall his way, but he's also got some guys that are also equally as good at this track. But I think putting him at 52% is a pretty fair shake if we're looking at it realistically.
Is that an actual number from the odds makers, or is that just your own number?
Oh no, that's just my own number.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was something
Can I
that
say something real quick?
NASCAR put out. Yep.
So I just found out Bell has a 400 to 1 chance to win.
Okay.
And a top 3 of and a negative 115 to 1.
So what do the betting odds say?
Christopher Bell's favored by +4 is a +400 chance to win. Byron's a +500, and Joe Logano is +600.
So,
There you have it.
All right. Well, since nobody got the trivia question correct, Jamie gets the bonus point this week. I will get that updated in our race pick total.
Let's
And
go.
that is going to close out our show tonight. As a big thank you, as always, we thank all of our sponsors, Fubo TV, Century, PC, Sleeves, Fanatics, I'm sorry, I'm blanking here. Dr. Squatch, Bulletproof Coffee, Fanatics, thank you so much for sponsoring this podcast. Please be sure to click
sunflower
the links.
seeds.
Oh yeah, Smacking Sunflower Seeds. That is a new one this year. I forgot about them. Please be sure to check out their links in our podcast description. And with that, this has been the Lap Down, and I am Greg, and for Tyler, Ryan, Jamie, and Billy, who had to leave us a little bit early tonight, we will see you next week after Phoenix. Deuces.
Deuces.